Titus, radical self-compassion and joy coach of The Awakening Design, where I help people understand and align to their unique soul-level gifts so that they can live the life of their dreams. Thank you so much for tuning into my series in March, Connecting with Your Authentic Self. This month, we're going to get into the steps that we can all take to honor and empower our authentic self and the things that we can do to make sure that we're showing up in all of our beautiful uniqueness every single day. Sound good? Awesome. Let's dive in. In today's video, we're addressing the question, are you honoring your energy? I want you to imagine that you're waking up on a perfect day. You wake up naturally, all snug as a bug, and you feel rejuvenated, ready to pop up out of bed. You're excited about your day and the things that you're going to accomplish, and there's an overwhelming feeling of peace and calm, and you feel like you have all of the energy you need to get all of the things done that you need to. This energy, for the sake of this video, is what I'm going to call life force energy. It's the energy that fuels us, mind, body, and spirit. And on a perfect day, we have all of it that we need to do what we are being called to do, okay? Now, in real life, you may have noticed that depending on the day, you have more or less of this life force energy, depending on things like how well you slept, how busy you were the day before, how healthy you feel, and many, many other factors. But generally, you may be a person that feels like, for the most part, you have a consistent access to this life force energy. And even if it drains at the end of the day, when you wake up the next morning, for the most part, it's renewed itself. This also may not be true for you. You may feel like you don't have consistent access to life force energy, and that sometimes you get drained and your energy is not replenished for days or weeks. You may go through a period where you feel tired even upon waking, even if there's not a distinguishable reason behind it, like illness or restless sleep. And this can be really, really frustrating, especially when we don't understand it. And the world around us is telling us that there's something wrong, but there may not be. Did you know that everyone has different access to life force energy? Not everyone was created the same when it comes to how much energy they have to express on a daily basis and how that energy manifests for them. Now, I'm not talking about age, health, physical stamina. I'm referring to their baseline energy. If everyone were the same age and health, some people would still have more or less consistent access to life force energy. But this is not something that we're taught. The most important thing is this. Just because someone has less, or more for that matter, access to the get up and go energy doesn't mean that there is anything wrong with them. We live in a society that is grossly homogenized, and anything outside of what's been established as the norm is considered bad, but this is a lie. We are all created as divinely unique beings. No one is the same, even a little bit, so no one's experience should be exactly the same. This picture of everyone should have the same amount of energy was painted for one reason, and one reason only: productivity. We should be able to get a certain amount of activity or work done. We should feel energetic through the day and then be rejuvenated after 8 hours of sleep. We should be able to keep up with the busiest of bees. And the proof of this shoulding? The massive industry of caffeinated beverages. If everyone was supposed to have all of the energy we need to get all of this stuff done, we wouldn't need caffeinated beverages and energy supplements to help us keep up. In my opinion, it's really time that we stop shooting all over ourselves and others, and it's time that we step into acknowledging and honoring who we actually are and the truth in how we were created to express our energy. Now, there is nothing wrong if you have the normal amount of energy. If you have no problem keeping up and your energy level and your activity are fairly evenly matched, that is amazing. Take this as an opportunity to get to know how the other half of the world lives and a chance to better understand and hold space for those who are different from you. You may have someone close to you who has less or more energy than average, and this will help you support them on a deeper level. And if you think about it, you can probably identify people in your life who seem to have more or less access to life force energy than you. Someone who is always at it and doesn't seem to wear out, or someone who needs more downtime, more naps, more sleep nightly. In our culture, We look at these outliers, especially if somebody needs more rest, and think that there's something wrong with them. But this is not necessarily true. And we do it to ourselves all the time. We judge ourselves for not having more energy when we're tired, and rather than honoring what our body is telling us, we reach for another cup of coffee or tea or an energy drink. We try to suppress the symptoms of fatigue because we feel like there's something wrong with being tired, like it's some shameful thing or something. It's not. It's our body telling us how much life force energy we have left so we can take care of ourselves and rest when appropriate. The sad thing is that many of us have been raised to believe that our schedules and our calendars are more important than taking care of our bodies. And again, this is not true. And most of us are guilty of this. I know I am. But I think it's time that we start to look at our energy, abundance of or lack thereof, as something that we should operate around and not something that should be bent to our will. What if instead of trying to force our energy to do what we want, we built our lives around it? Now, in order for this to truly work, for us to truly align to our divine life force energy in whatever form and amount that is, we have to give our body what it needs to be healthy. I'm talking about consuming a healthy diet that aligns with what we need, getting the right amount of exercise, getting good sleep, supporting ourselves mentally and emotionally in whatever way we need. But once we have a healthy standard of living in all areas of our lives, we can get a good understanding of what our unique life force energy signature looks like. And once we understand what that is, we can honor it, which leads to less burnout, more emotional stability, more physical health and wellness, and so much more. Basically, it leads to an aligned life. Whereas ignoring who we are energetically leads to stress manifesting in mental and emotional burnout, chronic pain and illness, and other imbalances with long-term negative effects. If you've made it this far in the video, I would love to invite you to join the Awakening Design community and like this video and subscribe to my channel. Join me on Instagram and Facebook as well for a lot more content and information about upcoming events and training. So all this sounds well and good, and there are a few people who may be able to drop their way of life and honor their energy, but most of us have responsibilities that don't seem to allow for an easy transition to this kind of lifestyle. I'm going to break down how to integrate respecting our energy into every day with 3 steps to get you started. You ready? Step 1. Ask yourself how you feel on a regular basis. I'm talking 8 to 10 times a day at minimum. Most of us aren't even aware of the fact that we are tired or drained because we're running on autopilot anyway, detached from our bodies. Get in the habit of having an intimate understanding of where you are energetically at any given time. Awareness and conscious of a situation is always the first step to making changes. Number 2, get on board with putting your health first. Remember the long-term damage that perpetually operating on fumes can do to you. Chronic illness, pain, fatigue, stress-related illnesses, mental and emotional instability and breakdown. You're doing this for you and everyone who loves you and wants you to live a long, healthy life. Also, if you're pushing yourself into states of exhaustion on a regular basis, you are not showing up as your best self. Not for your family, not for your boss, not for your friends. You may think you're managing fine, but the phrase are probably showing that point to the fact that you're not okay. And that could be physical health or a lack of emotional and mental stability. Make the determination to change. If you aren't on board, if you don't believe that you deserve it or that this is crucial to your life, you won't follow through. Step number 3, start making changes. Once you're aware of your energy and you're on board with putting your health first, start taking action. Start making new choices when you feel a lack of energy, decide to rest, make a decision to pare down your calendar, and release some of the obligations that you have. Now, obligations, let's drill down into this one because this can be really hard for people. Sometimes we feel like we have the whole world on our shoulders, and if we don't do everything we're supposed to, that something terrible is going to happen or that we're going to be a terrible person in extension. It's not, and we aren't. There are very, very few things in life that are life-threatening or life-sustaining that cannot be postponed or even indefinitely delayed. Now, I know this is radical for some people. This goes right along with all the things that we should do or should be. And honestly, if you start to implement this, do not be surprised if you catch resistance from some of the people in your life when you start putting yourself first. Because the reality is that people living from an egoic state are inherently selfish. That's what the ego does. And they want you to do what they want you to do based on what they want to experience. And they may not really care about what you want or need. And they may see their needs as more important and bigger than yours. And they will use methods of emotional manipulation to make you feel bad about not doing whatever it is that they want you to do. But as spiritually conscious people, we have to let go of the responsibility for other people's experiences, especially when it conflicts with what's best for us physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And all of this is pointing to a release of obligation in our lives. When we do things out of obligations, we do things that we don't want to do. It's not best for us. And either we are shooting all over ourselves or someone else is shooting all over us and we're just acquiescing. Now, this is not the same as doing something out of love or because you want to, guys. And you can feel the vibrational difference between the two. Helping a friend move or helping your child with a project may be done out of love, whereas letting a friend live with you indefinitely or agreeing to be on the PTA when you're already time poor and energy poor may be out of obligation. One person's act of love may be another person's obligation, and nobody can tell you which it is for you. But that is why you have to be very, very aware of your own energy and the why behind what you're doing. So start saying no. Start scheduling time out to rest. Test this out and play with it and see what it is that you need. Here's a pro tip. When you start caring for yourself in this way and treating yourself with the respect that you honestly deserve, feelings of guilt and shame may start to come up, and that's totally natural. You may feel like someone's looking over your shoulder and judging you, and 9 times out of 10, that person is you, so just go ahead and disregard that feeling. You may feel like everything in your life is going to crumble if you don't handle something right this second, and it's not. And if it does, that probably means that it's only been your sheer will that's kept it standing this long, and it probably isn't meant to be. So take a deep breath, slide in some affirmations like, I am more than enough, I deserve rest and relaxation, and all is well, and stay the course. You are empowering yourself by honoring the truth of who you are, and everyone in your life will benefit from it. So let's review. The steps to beginning to honor your energy and the wildly unique divine being that you are go like this. Step number 1, make it a habit to ask yourself where your energy level is at any given time. Step number 2, get on board with the decision to put your health, mental, physical, emotional, and spiritual first. Remember, you cannot show up as your empowered, aligned self without doing this. Step number 3, start making changes. When you're tired, rest, clear your calendar. Other people's expectations are not your responsibility. And if you find yourself in a situation where you cannot honor your energy and you're forced to push yourself past what's healthy for you, leave that situation for one that has more flexibility. This is your life we're talking about. No job, relationship, or obligation is more important than that. And stop comparing your energy levels to other people. We are all beautiful and unique. When we start to acknowledge who we are on all levels and begin to stand in the fullness of who we are, only then can we align with our divine gifts and bring the deepest desires of our hearts into our lives in a way that we can enjoy them. And only then can we truly be who we were created to be. I'm Amy Titus, radical self-compassion and joy coach of The Awakening Design, where I help people understand and align to their unique soul-level gifts so that they can live the life of their dreams. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next week. Please remember to like and subscribe and follow me on social. Bye!